going to talk about our book again in this video. And remember, the book that we are reading this week is a fiction book. Fiction stories have characters that are made up people or animals. Some fiction stories have illustrations. Illustrations are the pictures, but the pictures always look like they were drawn with someone, not like something you could take with a camera if it's a fiction book. Think about what we know about fiction, and let's see each characteristic of it. The girl is a character in this story. Behind her is her mother. The people are illustrated or drawn. Someone actually took a pencil, a marker, a computer, and they drew them instead of taking a picture of them with a camera. So the characters are people that the author made up to tell the story. Made up characters is one characteristic of a fiction story. The text here tells about the smell of crispy tacos or buttery tortillas or juicy fruta floating out the window. And see how the illustration has things circled that shows the smells floating out the window? Well, in true stories, you cannot see smells. Like, if I have a turkey baking in the oven like I did on Thanksgiving, I can smell that turkey, but I can't actually see that smell floating through the air. So that's another way that we know this may be a fiction story. Says you can paint your tongue purple and green. So we don't really paint our tongue. She is a character in the story, and she's using words like that because the Paleta can make your tongue purple or green, depending on which color you have. Remember that good readers ask themselves questions as they read, and then finding answers to the questions helps us to understand the book better. Here I read, what can you do with a paleta? So I'm wondering, first of all, what it is. And so I'm going to ask that question. I wonder what it is, and I'm going to read to see if I can find the answer. On this page, I see that a paleta comes in wagons, and it talks about icy paletas. So paletas must be something cold that you eat, like a popsicle. What else can she do with a paleta? So we are going to read to find out. And some of you may remember the answer from yesterday.
What Can You Do with a Paleta? By Carmen Tafola. Illustrated by Magali Morales.
So who is Carmen Tafola? That person is the author. They wrote the words to the book because it says by Carmen Tafola. Illustrated by Magali Morales. Who is that? If it's illustrated by, what did that person do? They drew the pictures in the book. So let's continue to the next page and begin reading.
Where the big velvet roses bloom, red and pink and fuchsia. Where the accordion plays sassy and sweet. Where the smell of crispy tacos, or buttery tortillas, or juicy fruta floats out of every window.
Remember that when we read from left to right, top to bottom. So we begin up here at this first line up the top. Well, the big velvet roses bloom. We're at the end of that line, so then we go to the next. Red and pink and fuchsia. That way we are making sure that we read the words in the right order, otherwise they probably won't make very much sense to us. Now here, this sentence doesn't totally end. The page stops where the accordion plays sassy and sweet, but there's no period. It continues onto this page. Well, the smell of crispy tacos, or buttery tortillas, or juicy fruta floats out of every window. So sometimes when you're reading, a sentence might begin on one page and end on another one.
And where the Paleta wagon rings its tinkly bell and carries a treasure of icy paletas in every color of the sarape. That's my barrio.
So this character is telling us a story. The setting of the story, where it takes place, is in her barrio. Barrio is a Spanish word meaning neighborhood. So what neighborhood sound does the girl in this story hear? She hears the tinkly bell of the Paleta wagon.
You can dance to the accordion, you can smell the tacos, but what can you do with a paleta?
Can you find the word do on this page? That is our word of the week, do. Right here it is. It's spelled D-O, do. So that is our word of the week.
You can paint your tongue purple and green and scare your brother.
Look at the brother on page 11. What does the girl do to her brother? She's scaring him with her purple and green tongue, isn't she? The events is what happens in the story if we talk about the events. So in this case, one event that happened in this story is the girl scared her brother by using her purple and green tongue.
Or maybe learn to make tough decisions. Strawberry or coconut?
So here I read that the girl has to decide which kind of paleta she wants. I wonder, what else can you do with a paleta? I will keep reading to find out the answer to this question.
You can make new friends.
When I was reading earlier, I asked myself, what else can you do with a paleta? I find my answer on this page. I learned that you can make new friends. Here the girl is giving some of her paleta to the dog. And so she is making a new friend. And maybe she sees this other girl doing the same thing, and they start talking about it because they both like paletas. So I'm going to continue to ask and answer myself questions as I read through this book.
Give yourself a big blue mustache.
Remember that you can also learn about the characters or the people in the story by looking at the illustrations. Look at this page. color paleta did the girl choose? She chose a blue one, didn't she? What does this tell you about the character, about the girl? She probably likes blue paletas. If she didn't like the blue paletas, then she would have chosen a different color because it would have been a different flavor.
Or create a masterpiece.
So the girl says you can create a masterpiece with the paletas. I know that a masterpiece is a kind of art. I ask myself, what kind of art does the girl make? Well, the text doesn't tell us, but if I look at the illustrations, I find my answers. She's using the dripping colored water from the paleta to make different colored swirls, and that is her masterpiece.
You can use one to cool off, like Mama does.
So we have been learning about the letter D this week, and D makes the D sound. Can you find a word on this page that starts with the D sound? Listen to it again.
You can use one to cool off, like Mama does.
Does. Does begins with that D, that D sound.
Theo once won a baseball game by offering one to the batter, right when the ball was being pitched.
So what is happening on these pages? What are the characters doing? The ghost Tio, or her uncle, because Tio is the Spanish word for uncle, is telling a story about baseball to her and her brother, and they are listening carefully to her uncle's story. The text tells us the type of story the uncle's telling her. He is telling her about how he won a baseball game by offering a paleta to the batter right when the ball was being pitched. So he distracted the batter from the game by offering a paleta.
You can help the señora at the fruit stand make it through a long, hard day.
We read earlier that the setting for this story is the girl's barrio or neighborhood. Look at this page, and let's listen to this text again.
You can help the señora at the fruit stand make it through a long, hard day.
Look at this woman on this page. Who is this character in the barrio? She is the woman who sells fruit. Señora is the Spanish word for woman. So she is the señora or the woman who sells fruit in the barrio. Also, if someone needs to make it through a workday, they're usually tired and need help doing it. Let's keep reading.
But I think the very best thing to do with a paleta is to lick it, and slurp it, and sip it, and munch it, and gobble it all down. Where the big velvet roses bloom red and pink and fuchsia.
Can you find the word do on this page? Remember, that's our high frequency sight word for this week. Can you find the word do somewhere through here? Right here, D-O spells do.
Where the accordion plays sassy and sweet. Where the smell of crispy tacos or buttery tortillas or juicy fruta floats out of every window. And where the paleta wagon rings its tinkly bell and carries a treasure of icy paletas in every color of the sarape, that's my barrio.
Why do you think the author decided to write this story? Remember, there's always a reason for every story that authors write. Maybe she wanted to tell a fun story about a tasty treat, and she might have wanted to let us know what a barrio is like. She also maybe wanted to let us know what a paleta was. Let's read some more and learn more about paletas.
About paletas. A much anticipated event in any Latino barrio, neighborhood, is the arrival of the paleta wagon. The paleta man comes pushing his cart down the street, tinkling a bell and shouting, "Paleta-as!" for everyone to hear. The wagon carries sweet, juicy, ice-cold paletas made from all natural, healthy ingredients. Paletas come in lime, coconut, pecan, mango, banana, kiwi, strawberry, watermelon, guava, chocolate, horchata, Jamaica, tamarind, pineapple, vanilla, and more. Which is your favorite?
So paletas are not necessarily like ice cream. They are made from healthy ingredients. Most of these are fruits that we would read about, except chocolate isn't a fruit and vanilla isn't. But a lot of the others are. Which type of paleta do you think would be your favorite? You might like strawberry. Maybe you think the banana would be good. Myself, I would like to try the pineapple or the mango, because I think both of those would be nice to try. Okay, now we're going to go on to our retelling cards, and we're going to see if we can retell this story by looking at some pictures. Look at this first picture, and what can you tell me about the story from it? Where does the girl live? She lives in a barrio, doesn't she? A neighborhood. What can you do in a barrio? You can dance, you can smell the tacos, and you can see the paleta wagon coming. What does the paleta wagon do? It rings its bell, and it has icy, cold, juicy treats in it. What is the girl doing in this picture? She chose a paleta out of the wagon, and now what is she doing? She's painting her tongue purple and green and using it to scare her brother. In this picture, what is the girl and her brother doing? They're giving away a piece of their paletas to puppies. So they're using their paletas to make new friends because they're sharing them. What's happening in this picture? It's very hot outside. And when it's hot outside, you can use a cold, icy paleta to cool off. See the little lines in the illustration? That is representing the coldness coming from the paleta. So Mama is using the paleta to cool off. Look at this picture. What is her favorite thing to do with the paleta? She likes to eat it. She likes to slurp it and gobble it and lick it and munch it and chew it. And look at the pictures of the flowers in this picture. What does that tell us? Her favorite flowers in her barrio are roses. And how does this end the story for us? In her neighborhood, there's a Paleta wagon, and the Paletas you can see come in many different colors and flavors. Thank you for doing this activity and story with me today, boys and girls. Have a great day.